Thanks again to those who have just joined us this morning, and welcome to our T-Levels live panel discussion for the Manchester College. I'm Megan and I'm one of the School Liaison coordinators, and this is my colleague Lindsay from marketing. We're going to be your hosts for this morning. With us on our panel today, we have three of our assistant principals and also our head of department for employability, who are going to share their knowledge about T-levels and give us a deeper insight into the T-levels that are on offer at the Manchester College. I'll hand over to them now so they can give a little introduction. Do you want to start off with Chris?
Good morning, everybody. My name's Chris Wright. I'm the assistant principal who looks after the STEM type subjects, so including motor vehicle, construction, built environment, engineering, and logistics.
Carol?
Hi, I'm Carol Whitworth. I'm the assistant principal for business, computing and creative industries. So that encompasses like everything digital as well as business.
Julian?
I'm Julian Smith, the assistant principal for sport, public service and care professions. So that includes all the health and social care and the child and education subjects.
Finally, Tom.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Tom Mantell. I'm head of department, employer partnership and skills, and I manage the work experience team, the team of employability partnership coordinators.
Brilliant. So we've got a lot to cover this morning, so we will get straight into it. So first off, I'm going to pass this question over to Chris. What is a T-level?
A T-level is a brand new type of qualification that will be available at the Manchester College for first teaching from September 2021. They are what's called technical level qualifications, and obviously the T-level is at level 3. They've been designed in partnership with industry experts and industry partners, and they are equivalent to studying 3 A-levels, so quite a large qualification. They're a 2-year level 3 study programme that delve really deeply into the technical aspects of each of the subjects, and they're really designed to develop the professionals within those areas of the future. Unlike a lot of other study programmes, as well as the industry experts supporting the design and development of those qualifications at a national level, those industry partners and experts have then worked with us at the Manchester College to help develop our materials, our content, our assessments. There are employer set projects, and those same industry experts will be standing shoulder to shoulder with our teachers, some of the time delivering the lessons, assessing the students' work, submitting projects to students, giving them live briefs. So there's a lot of interaction and a lot of delivery by those industry experts actually in the classroom. A T-level is split into 5 main components. The first one is what's entitled core, and that deals with the principles and the science and materials of the subjects. The second element is the occupational specialism, which is where a student then focuses down on the skills or the curriculum vocational type area. There's then English, maths and digital skills. There's then an industry placement, which is a minimum of 315 hours over the 2 years. So a really substantial commitment to work placement and industry placements. And then in some cases, the industry may well ask a student to study what's called a license to practice qualification. So for example, in my area in the construction T-levels, a requirement is that the students all acquire a CSCS card to make them safe and legal when they access site. But in a nutshell, that's what T-levels are: a brand new big level 3 qualification equivalent to 3 A-levels and designed to give parity of esteem between vocational technical education and A-levels.
Amazing, that's great, Chris, thank you. Could you just give us an overview for each area of what subjects you are going to be delivering with T-levels?
So in my area, in the STEM areas, the route that we're offering is construction. And within construction, there are 3 pathways that you can follow. The first one is what's called building services engineering. And the vocational route we've chosen within that T-level is electrical installation. The second one is called on-site construction, and the vocational route we've taken there is carpentry and joinery. And the last one in my area is design, surveying and planning. And that's around the built environment. So if a student had an aspiration to be a quantity surveyor or a site manager or an architect, then that would be the T-level route that they would choose.
Great. Carol, could you just give us an overview of your T-level areas?
Yeah, so in my area, the ones that are being launched September this year are all digital ones. We're doing 2 in September 21 and a further one in September 22. So the 2 that we're going to be offering from this September, one of them is digital business services, which is all about software and systems that help businesses. So that's quite a practical subject for people who want to go into that kind of thing. And the other one is called digital production design and development, and that's a software development T-level. So designing apps, designing the programming language that goes behind web apps and things like that. And then the following September, we'll be offering the one that focuses heavily on security and cyber security. So that's for September 22.
Brilliant. And Julian?
Yeah, for our areas, 2 separate subjects. So we've got the education in childcare, educator for those that want to be learning mentors, teaching assistants, or work in the nursery sector. And then on the other side, we have the health and social care element, and that's a different subject. And we've got 3 pathways, which is the assisting adult nursing for those that want to pursue a career in adult nursing, maybe midwifery, or maybe be a paramedic or a doctor for the future. We've got the care of children and young people that again focuses more on social work element and obviously more of the youth side. And the final one is assisting healthcare science, which is more for the biomedical sectors and pathways and the clinical careers going forward.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that, Julian. Okay, so there's a lot on offer for young people these days, and obviously with T-levels being brand new. Carol, how do T-levels differ from A-levels, vocational programs, and also apprenticeships?
Okay, so the main difference is what they've tried to do here is to try and get a technical qualification that has the same prestige, if you like, as an A-level. Because historically BTECs have always been seen as like a second-class citizen to an A-level, when actually they are all the same level. So what the T-level has been designed to do is to be as academically competent and at the same level as an A-level, but as well as focusing heavily on those technical qualifications like you would do in a vocational qualification. So as a young person, if you were to go on to university and you've been down the A-level route and you'd taken computing, for example, A-level, and another one of your class colleagues had done a vocational BTEC in computing, the person who'd done the vocational BTEC would have had far more technical knowledge than the person done the A-level, but the person done the A-level will be far more superior in the theoretical side. And what the T-level is designed to do is to bring those two both together to create like a super qualification that's going to give you both types of the skills. As far as apprenticeship goes, the way they compare to apprenticeships is that with an apprenticeship, you do 80% with the employer and 20% with the college, and that's completely flipped with a T-level. So you do 20% with the employer and 80% with the college. As Chris has already said, there's a minimum of 315 hours of work placement over the 2-year period, which the majority of that is generally done in the second year. So ultimately, the main difference is that the T-level will now stand side to side with an A-level and be as prestigious as an A-level while focusing on technical education.
Well, that's a great overview. Thanks, Carol. So following on from that, Julian, students might not, they've got so much on offer. What do they go for? So what are the characteristics of a successful T-level student?
Yeah, as Carol just mentioned, it's got a lot of similarities to the apprenticeship. There's a heavy side of a work placement element. And so for that part of it, you do need to have a lot of organisation skills, good time management skills, a real passion for that subject and a willingness to learn, and also be able to be self-confident. So within that, you're going to obviously be on placement, you're going to meet people at different levels, you're going to be expected to be quite an independent learner from that side of it. You will get support from us, and obviously the side of it on placement, but you need to have a high level of resilience and good communication skills, which is what is going to be quite a very high level, compact, challenging course for them. They get a lot from it, but you do need that self-organisation, that time management and real passion for that subject.
Brilliant. So we've had a question through the chat box. So can a T level be studied with an A level?
I'll answer that one if you want. And no, I mean, ultimately what you've got to understand here is that a T level is equivalent to 3 A levels. If you get a distinction in the T level, that's the same as a 3 A stars in your A level. So, you know, it's about understanding the complexity and how difficult this qualification is. So you wouldn't study an A level as well as, you just concentrate solely on the T level.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Carol. So the next question, a lot of our attendees may have seen on our website, and obviously when we're speaking to young people about our industry excellence academies and centres of excellence. So Carol, can you give us a bit of insight into what those are?
Yeah, so if you've been on our website, you'll see that the courses that we offer sit under 2 different headings, the Centre of Excellence and the Industry Excellence Academy. The Centre of Excellence is where a lot of our courses sit that Tom's department have a lot to do with. So you do deal with a lot of employers. The employers have a lot of input into the programmes. Everybody gets a work placement and gets placed. Whereas the Industry Excellence Academy is more focused employers. So these are our platinum employers. So within the Manchester College, we grade an employer depending on how much engagement they have with us. And our platinum employers are the ones that sit in the Industry Excellence Academy. So in the digital area, a programme is sponsored by a particular employer. In some other areas, such as construction, it's more around a consortium of employers. So really the main difference between the two is the way the employers engage with the qualifications.
That's brilliant. And following that, Tom, we've spoke a lot about employers. So how are they actually involved with our T levels?
Okay, so the main way that employers support our T levels, in addition to some of the things that have been mentioned around the kind of co-delivery and co-writing of the programs, is the delivery of the industry placement, which is, it's been mentioned already, it's a core mandatory part of the T level qualification that must be achieved in order to pass the qualification. So we've been working with employers for over 4 years with pilots around industry placements through our Capacity to Deliver Fund. And that's allowed us to develop the right delivery model and ensure we've got the right employers in place to support our T levels. And hundreds of students so far have benefited from those pilot activities. So the key features around an industry placement and what makes that different to some of the traditional work experience is the length of the placement's already been mentioned by Chris earlier. So it's around 45 to 50 days, minimum 315 hours, but up to 350 hours. And in the childcare route, that actually almost doubles in the amount of hours that a student will spend in the workplace. That allows young people to have a real contribution into the workplace as well through project-led work. Students receive mentoring support throughout, support from the college and a designated mentor in the workplace as well. And that is formalised through 3 reviews at the beginning, middle and end of the placement. Students will be expected also to complete weekly reflection of activities, and crucially they will agree to set objectives at the very beginning of the placement that they should work towards during the placement, and they would be agreed with curriculum with the employer and the student to complement the students' learning in the classroom. We support students throughout the placement but also in advance in order to prepare for the placement through our employability hour. They'll be matched to a suitable role and a suitable employer, and that often involves, and crucially this is really important for the students' development, often involves selection processes with the employer as well, so they get that additional broader experience of what the world of work is like. And just finally, to finish off, I'd just say that in terms of the opportunity for students and the benefits that industry placements bring, obviously it's the length, breadth, depth of the experience in comparison to a week or 2 weeks in the workplace. But in general, it's around putting that theory that they learn in the classroom on the T level into practice in the workplace, developing those broader work readiness skills, exploring their career routes and possible job options. And also the way we look at it is, and the way we work with employers is that we are providing them with a pipeline of talent What we would talk to students about is that this is their opportunity for an extended period to essentially be in a shop window with employers. And we have had numerous examples during our pilot years of students taking part in an industry placement and going on to secure paid employment at the end of the course as well, which is a real massive bonus for students as well.
Definitely. So for each area, could you just have a quick overview of which employers are actually involved? If we start with Chris.
Yes, sure, not a problem. Well, because ours is construction based, you won't be surprised to find out that they are national and regional construction contractors. I'll go through some of them, not all of them, but names such as Baumer and Kirkland, Caddick Construction, Conlon Construction, Kenny Waste Management, Kia Construction, Lend Lease, who are doing the renovation of the town hall, Lovells, NG Bailey, Vinci UK, and Waits Construction. And those employers support us, like I said earlier, in the delivery. They provide guest speakers, they provide projects, they assess students' work, they come and give them the benefit of their experience, they provide those significant industry placements that Tom was talking about just a second ago, and they also provide industry mentorship and professional guidance to the students whilst they're on their sites.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Chris. Carol, what about your areas?
Yeah, so in my area, it differs quite significantly to Chris's, because as I said earlier, Chris's is a consortium of employers. And with my area, we've linked a specific course to a specific employer. So if you look on the website, it'll be say in partnership with, and then the name of the employer. And two of the key employers for the T-levels that we are starting in September, the programming T-level is being sponsored by a company called Silverchip, who are a digital agency based in Manchester. They have helped us design and develop and write the programme. They've given us the content, they've given our teachers training, updating skills on which languages they should be using. They give us live briefs so that the work that the students are doing in college is real work experience. It's not just like something the teachers made up. It's something that they've been given as an industry to produce. When they go on the work placements, they go on the work placements with Silverchip, and they work on the projects that they are working on side by side. And the business systems one is in partnership with the Lloyds Bank, which I think everybody knows who the Lloyds Bank is. I don't need to say who they are. And again, exactly the same. So they've helped us develop and design that programme. And as well as developing, designing and work placements, they come in and they do guest speaking, they do guest lectures, and they run competitions throughout the year.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Carol. And Julian, your areas?
Yeah, so for child development, a bit similar to Chris, is a consortium of nurseries. And then for health and social care, we're working really closely with the NHS and the Manchester Trust. And why that's really important is that we're designing the T-level around what their suggestions are for the local area, which is really important. All T-levels have an input to begin with from all employers, but we're working them really closely to actually find out what are the skills gaps, what are the skills that are needed for that Manchester area and for that placement on NHS. And then we're developing that into the core course. And like with Carol's, they'll be then also teaching and helping us support on the programme and do delivery. And also then we'll be able to review the types of equipment that's used, which is based at the college, and they'll be using going forward as well. So when they go on to placement with the NHS as well.
That's great. Thanks for that, everybody. So next question, this one's for Chris. What is the difference between a transition programme and a T-level, and how does the summer school fit into that?
Okay, so you've heard us talk about T-levels. They're level 3, they're quite high level, a lot of work involved, a lot of industry placement involved, a lot of interaction with employers. And the bit that we haven't spoke about yet is potentially the entry requirements, which we'll come to a little bit later. But without a shadow of a doubt, not all students will be ready to take a T-level. Julian spoke a little bit earlier about some of the characteristics that make a student, or we think will make a student successful on the T-level, knowing what we know about the content, the delivery and the assessment models. And one of those things that Julian talked about was resilience. One of the things that Tom talked about was about interaction with employers. So it's not all about qualifications. It's also about the wraparound skills, the wider skills that a student may have. Now, if a student isn't quite ready for a T-level to take on that really significant commitment and hasn't maybe got the resilience, or hasn't maybe yet got those interpersonal skills to be able to communicate and work in a team on site in an industrial setting, then the transition program is a level 2. I don't suppose I should really say this, but it's a level 2 mini T-level. In my area, it contains the vast majority of the same content, although at a different level. It still contains that high level of interaction with industry partners coming into the classrooms, guest speakers. It still includes industry set projects, and it still includes a considerable amount of time spent in the workplace working with industry partners. It's just not as big as the level 3 T-level. So it's designed entirely to prepare people so that the following September, they could naturally progress into a T-level and have all of those characteristics that are going to make them succeed. It's also an opportunity for us during that year to up their levels of English and maths capability so that they can succeed on that very high level and quite substantial T-level qualification.
That's brilliant. We have had a question in the question and answer part that fits quite nicely with that. So, what do students study in English and maths as part of the T-level, and what grades do students need to have in these subjects at GCSE?
Okay. Well, for my area, for the T-level, applicants need a minimum of 5 GCSEs at grade 4 or above, and this must include English and maths at grade 6 or above, and a science at grade 5 or above. Students will also need to complete the summer school project and also be successful in an interview with the employer. We've all spoke about the level of employer interaction in these programs. Quite rightly, the employers want a hand in being able to select the students that go on. So it's like an interview for a job. So just before I talk about the content of the course, the summer school, which I should have mentioned a little earlier, everything's not always about qualifications and GCSE grades. And the summer school is a 3-week period where we ask students to attend virtual sessions 2 days a week, so a Monday and a Wednesday. And then there is, if they like, a Thursday voluntary drop-in session. But those 2 days a week are tasters for the subject. But they're also opportunities for us as teaching teams and our employer partners to work with those students, to get to know them personally, for them to get to know us, for them to dip their toe into the subject areas, and for us to begin to make assessments about, okay, so let's forget the GCSE grades. What's their teamwork like? What's their resilience like? What's their timekeeping and working to deadlines like? Do they have the potential to be successful despite the fact that we might need to give them some extra support around their English or maths? It's about spotting true talent and making sure that we don't miss any real talented people and giving them a place onto the T-level. So in terms of the content of the T-level qualifications, in mine, as you would imagine, like because it's STEM, there's a heavy reliance on physics type subjects. So buildings technology, measurement, materials, a lot of maths in there. But then it also moves into project management, site management, construction, design. There's a real plethora of subjects that go right throughout the qualification. But the core deals with those very, not pure, but heavily physics type subjects.
Brilliant. Carol and Julian, do you want to just give a brief overview of your entry requirements as well?
Yeah, so in digital, it's the same as Chris in relation to the 5 GCSEs, but we're saying grade 5 and above for English or maths. Again, the summer school is open to those students who apply for the transition year as well as the T-level. And if you don't have a grade 5 in English and maths and you apply to the transition year and you come along to the summer school, as Chris said, you know, if we spotted that talent within that person, then there may be the opportunity to go on to the T-level and work on your English and maths rather than the transition. But a lot of it would depend really on the individuals, and it is all about spotting the talent. For our transition year and the summer school, what we've planned to do is we're not focusing on one of the subject areas. So for the summer school this year and the transition year this year, you will get a taste of the digital business services, you would get a taste of the world of programming as well as the cybersecurity, so that should you go on to the transition year in September, the following year you would have the option to choose all three. So you would get a taster of all three of those to see which one you think you might like, because, you know, ultimately at 16, it's very difficult for a 16-year-old to really know what each of those mean. So we want to make sure that they're choosing the right one. So the summer school for those going directly onto the T-level this year will be to make sure they choose one of the two that are on offer, give them a taste of what either of them are going to be like so they can make the right choices.
Fabulous. And yourself, Julian?
Yeah, so similar. So it's 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above for English and maths for the childcare. The only difference for us is the health and social care. You do need science at grade 4 and above as well, just because unlike obviously with Chris's it's a physics element, with ours we do obviously have a lot of biology and chemistry within there, so we do insist on that. I think the important part of it, as we said with the summer school, is a real opportunity for the student to showcase what they can do and what they're like. It's very difficult just getting that impression of someone just from an application form and even sometimes an interview. So it is about that talent spotting throughout that period. And as we said already, making sure that they do choose the right pathway. So for us, there's 3 different pathways for health and social care. They're all similarities, but they are all different. So I think getting those together, really having an experience of it and a taster will make sure that they're on that right path.
Definitely.
Can I just answer one of the questions that's in the question and answer as well that I noticed popped up a while ago? It said if a student has applied for a standard course and there is an equivalent T-level, would they be directed to be considered by the T-level interview? No, absolutely. And one of the things our staff are doing right now is ringing around some of those students that look as if they're going to have the correct entry requirements to see whether they want to look at the possibility of coming onto the T-level. So yeah, there's definitely that choice.
Brilliant. And following on from that, Carol, we have had another question that links quite nicely. So if a student has the grades they need for a T-level, but you don't think that interpersonal skills-wise they are ready for it, would you put them on a transition programme even though it is level 2, or recommend another level 3 course?
I think initially we would just invite them along to the summer school, you know, and that is the purpose of the summer school, is to see whether or not they're ready for that T-level. There would be the opportunity for them to do the transition if they felt more comfortable, and if at the end of the summer school we felt it was more comfortable. But really that's the part of the purpose of the summer school, is to ascertain that, because the last thing we want is to be putting students onto a T-level if they're not either ready for it or they haven't got those kind of interpersonal skills that would make them successful on that T-level, because it is a very different qualification. You know, and on the other hand to all that is there is still plenty of other qualifications that they could take at level 3, apart from the T-level, but, you know, can get them on that same path to university if that's what they wanted. So yeah, so we would guide them onto the summer school. That's the point of the summer school, is to try and make sure they are on the right programme.
Brilliant. Hopefully that's answered that question. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to pass this one to Julian. Some of our attendees may not have heard of this yet, but we are offering something called the T Award. Could you just tell us a little bit about that, Julian, and how it can benefit students?
Yeah, so we've already discussed, obviously, the T-level will provide the student with that level 3 qualification. They also have a fantastic opportunity to go on a placement, a large placement, and get that experience. The T Award really is an award. It's like a package of benefits that the college offers that's very different to any other college. So the idea is that there'll be opportunity to get a £300 a year bursary. So that's subject to the student's performance with attendance and grades, etc. They'll get free branded workwear, they'll get a laptop. They'll obviously, as we've already talked, have that opportunity for employers to come in and deliver on that program, which is excellent. And the key thing with it as well is that they'll have access to our higher education programs and a guaranteed progression to USEN Manchester, which is our HE, higher education provision. And they'll also have an opportunity to get a bursary for that. So we're also thinking, as the students will be, what's the next step? And we'll be able to provide them with that next step. They may go straight into employment, but we'll also be able to offer them a place within the HE USEN Manchester as well for that. There'll also be opportunities to do different qualifications that are attached to the T-level. So for mine, there will be a first aid package that they'll get from there. And there'll also be opportunities for master classes that will be actually delivered by employers.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that, Julian. Some amazing opportunities for our students. Okay, so final question for the panel. So we are always keen to help and support our schools in raising awareness and making sure they are fully equipped to help their students with their next steps. So Chris, how can we help to raise awareness, and how can the college get involved in supporting local schools?
Well, through events like this, obviously, and I did email, I'd be really willing and happy to develop relationships with heads of curriculum years or heads of curriculum areas that are related to the subjects that we deliver in T-levels. I'd be more than happy to, host another meeting specifically with those heads of DT or such similar type areas. We have, have quite a strong ethos around communication. Welcome people when we can actually physically accommodate it to come down to the site, have a look at the facilities. I'm quite willing to come and visit schools if timetables don't permit, or to do things like this on Teams calls. Basically, I am passionate about these T-levels. We've got a brand new facility, a multi-million-pound complex that's opening at Openshaw for September 2021. I want to show that off to everybody who will come and look at it, who will come and listen to everything about it. I'd love to just speak to anybody. Contact me. My email details will be available to you. Just come and talk. Amazing.
Carol, Julian, do you have anything to add to that?
I was just going to say that we haven't actually mentioned the new buildings as yet, and I think that's really a key part of this, because not only are we #1 for achievement in the Manchester, but we will have second to none equipment and buildings. As Chris said, the two T-levels that Julian and Chris are running, those two areas, their buildings will be ready in September. The digital building, for those of you that have been around and about in Manchester, is halfway built now, and it's across the road from the arena if you've not seen the building works. So we'll be moving to our Nichols campus for 1 year in September. So the digital curriculum will just be taking over this campus. And in September 22, we'll be moving to this brand new purpose-built building in the centre of Manchester. So right in the hub of everything digital, and you couldn't really ask for more than that for the digital T-levels.
Amazing. Julian?
As Chris said, I would welcome the opportunity to our specific meetings with heads of department or faculty for health and social care and childcare. That'd be really good. So my details are available. So if we can set that up, I'll be willing to do that. That'd be brilliant.
Oh, amazing.
Sorry, just before you move on, I think another element to that is that the contractors that I mentioned a little bit earlier, and I did forget to mention Wilmot Dixon, so I get shot if I don't name them. But we would be quite willing to come and do sessions at your schools, but bring along with us some of those contractors to talk about some of the realities about working on site. So whether you do a year group meetings or assemblies or whatever, those contractors would be really interested to come and talk to your students about the T-levels and about the placements.
Yes. No worries. Thanks for that, everybody. So that's the end of our panel questions. Lindsay, I'll pass over to you to answer any questions we have in the Q&A box.
Yeah, so we've got about 10 minutes just to answer any more questions that people have, so feel free just to pop them in the Q&A box. Somebody's asked, if at the end of a T-level, the young person is qualified to work in that industry, Does the electrical engineering fully qualify them to go into work? They've said BTEC level 3 sometimes didn't meet the work placement requirements that would be achieved if the young person had done the apprenticeship route. So Chris, do you feel like, particularly with electrical engineering, that would qualify them to go straight into work, or do you think there'd be further qualifications needed?
Qualifies them to go into work under supervision. It doesn't qualify them to work independently. So if they did want to work independently, they would then need to continue in an apprenticeship type route. City and Guilds at the moment are doing a cross-mapping exercise to understand the competencies that a T-level graduate would actually have, and therefore which elements of that level 3 apprenticeship would not need to be therefore completed. So it would be a much shortened route, but to work independently, in particular as an electrician, you do have to have had that level 3 qualification, and there would need to be some kind of onward training before you became fully independent as an electrician.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
If I can just expand on that a little bit with regard to digital, we have a lot of employers that we're working with right now, and they're really excited about this T-level, because what they're finding is, because the digital route normally is more of going off to university and doing a degree, coming out with the BS honours, and what they're saying is a lot of those degrees don't equip the students with the digital technical qualification and skills that they actually need. So they're actually quite excited to take the level 3 T-level students directly from that straight into their entry-level roles and train them up themselves, rather than them go off to university learning stuff for 3 years that is probably going to be out of date by the time they get into the industry.
Okay, brilliant. We've had another question. Do you think T-levels could eventually replace some other level 3 qualifications, for example, BTEC extended diplomas, or is there a place for both within the same subject area?
I think it's quite clear, and history will repeat itself. T-levels will become the norm, and colleges' hands will be forced by virtue of the fact that the funding will be turned off for the alternative level 3 type BTEC qualifications. So I think the simple answer is yes, T-levels will become the norm, and the other level 3 BTECs will disappear.
Sorry, did you want to add something there?
I don't know what the other APs think about their areas.
Yeah, I mean that's what seems to be out there at the minute, is that the T-levels will be the only option. I know there's a lot of debate out there to say that there is actually room for both options, but at the minute it's looking like it's just going to be a T-level.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what will happen. When it happens, it depends on the subject. So obviously some are coming in this year, some are coming in 2 years, 3 years, but I think eventually that's what will happen, yeah.
Okay. I've got quite a few questions coming through, so I'll just try and move through these. So someone's asked, if it's the case that a student doesn't pass the maths or English elements of the course, does that mean they can't achieve the T-level?
Yes, it does. To achieve the T-level, which is, if you think of an apprenticeship that's got an NVQ, it's got maths and English, and it's got the college element. A T-level is a bit like that, as Carol described it. It's like an apprenticeship in reverse, 80% in college and 20% at work. You cannot get a T-level certificate, which is a certificate for the whole qualification, if you do not achieve all elements of that. So that includes the English and maths.
But that is one of the reasons why we've set the entry requirements, that you've got to have a minimum of a grade 4 maths and English to do a T-level. So that part of the T-level, it would be about developing your English and maths, because you would already have that level.
And just going back to about replacing other level 3 courses, someone said, will they also replace BTEC subsidiary qualifications?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they can't actually replace a subsidiary qualification, because a subsidiary qualification is quite a small level 3. Whether they replace that with something other than T-levels, at the minute there's no plan to do that, but
okay,
it would be the full level 3, I think.
Somebody else has asked, how can we raise awareness of the new courses with parents of pupils? Megan, I don't know if you want to maybe input there as well, being part of the school liaison team.
Yeah, definitely. So as School Liaison team, we're more than happy to come into parents' evenings, whether that be in school or virtually. We also do have a T-level classroom delivery session that can be held for parents, or if we want a pre-recorded version, we also have that. So anything that you want to invite us to, we can definitely think of that. Also, we have got a parent's guide to T-levels. You can find that on our website. Lindsay, did you put the link in the chat box?
Yeah, I've just put that in the chat for people to download and share.
Yeah, so if anybody wants a digital version of that or a printed version, please do just contact your link advisor and they will be more than happy to sort that out for you.
Okay, getting towards the final questions now. So someone said, will universities accept a T-levels as entry to a degree level qualification?
Yeah, all the T-levels have got UCAS points, so they're all accepted.
Yeah, all equivalent to the A-levels.
Brilliant, thank you. Another question, what happens if someone drops out after 1 year of doing the T-level? What other options might they have?
Well, certainly in my area, the alternative level 3 qualifications will still be available. We're talking just about BTECs being phased out. Well, they're not actually phased out yet. That's further down the line in the future. So it could be that a T-level student who's finding it particularly difficult may want to then divert to a level 3 extended diploma in a particular area, or they may want to divert to a craft-based qualification, which would be just like studying the occupational specialism element of a T-level. But those sideways moves had been considered at the outset of the design for T-levels. So those sideways moves are entirely possible within those curriculum areas.
But just to make it very clear, someone mentioned the subsidiary diploma before, because effectively a subsidiary diploma is like half of an extended diploma. There's no such thing as a half a T-level. So they wouldn't have any kind of qualification in a T-level route if they did that.
Okay. I think if there's any more questions, please pop them in the Q&A. And one of the final questions we've got is, as we are so restricted to staying in bubbles, a recorded or live session for individual facilities would be useful, as we're not able to currently hold assemblies or have guests in school. Is that something we could facilitate?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. School Liaison team can work with each department to make sure we've got something suitable for pre-recorded if people can't have guests in schools.
Okay. Lots of questions coming through here, which is really good. Is there a limit on how many students can be accepted onto the courses?
Yes and no, I think is the simple answer. I'm aware that one of the limiting factors for us in terms of numbers of students on the groups will be the availability of the employer. Because without those industry placements that we spoke about, the T-level just can't exist, because you can't complete your industry placement, so you can't gain the T-level. So we've been working for the past 4 years really hard in developing relationships with industry partners. Tom's team have been working tirelessly during that period, and we have a substantial bank of people who are willing to support us in providing those placements. Ultimately, yes, there is a limit to what we can accept on those programs, simply because, that's one limiting factor. The size of the facility is another, the teaching resource is another, and this is the first year that we will have done these T-levels, so we're taking a careful approach to it with the target numbers that we've set ourselves.
Okay, another question. How can we get a list of any year 11 pupils who might have applied for a T-level already from our school?
So I can take that one. You will have a link coordinator for your school. So if you could contact them, they'll be more than happy to send a list of applicants. If not, alternatively, you can email just the School Liaison team. So that's slt@tmc.ac.uk, and we can make sure that a list gets sent over to you.
I've just put the School Liaison team phone number and email address in the chat box as well for anyone that wants to ask any more questions after this session that might come up. I think that's it for all the questions now. If anyone's got any last minute ones, put them in now. Oh, I've had another one come through. If a year 11 has applied for a level 3 BTEC but looks suitable for a T-level, would it be discussed with the student?
Yes, it would. As Carol mentioned earlier, we're carefully monitoring the applications that are coming through for the T-levels and the transitions. but also what I'm terming a related application. So exactly that situation that's just been described. And the teaching teams are, as we speak, contacting those applicants, advising them about the availability of a T-level or a transition year, and recommending registration for the summer school, so that at least they can try it, dip their toe in the water, may well decide that it's not really for them, but they will be offered the opportunity.
Yeah, because that's just something to be very clear about the summer school is that it'd be a great place for the students to come along just to see what it's like. Enrolling for the summer school doesn't mean you commit yourself to having to do the transition or the T. So, you know, just to put that out there to students.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm just a little bit conscious of time. So if we haven't got any more questions in the Q&A box, then I think we'll wrap up this session there. So thanks to everyone for joining us for the T-level panel discussion this morning. We hope you found it useful, and hopefully you've got a deeper understanding of T-levels and what we have on offer at the Manchester College. And a massive thank you to our panellists as well for joining us this morning. We have added a lot of different links into the chat box, but if you do have any further questions, like Lindsay said, please do contact the Schools Liaison team. Our number is 0161 674 3496. And thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.